Her human husband revealed his real strength, leaving the alien queen in shock. Inside, Mara gazed out of the viewing window, her hands clasped together, her heart fluttering with excitement and nervousness. This was not just another diplomatic mission. This was her first visit to the capital of the Zarathian Empire, home to one of the most advanced alien civilizations in the galaxy. And she was not alone. Beside her stood her husband, Ethan, a man who appeared ordinary at first glance, yet Mara knew there was more to him than met the eye. Ethan leaned casually against the wall, his dark eyes scanning the readouts of the navigation console. He had always been quiet, almost unassuming, but Mara had married him knowing that he carried a subtle strength, both in mind and in character, that no one else could match. Unlike most humans, Ethan possessed a rare combination of curiosity, adaptability, and calm determination. Mara had learned to trust him completely, though she often wondered if others would ever see the depth of his abilities. The Aurora's dawn entered the orbit of Zarath's prime, the shining capital world of the Zarathian Empire. From orbit, Mara could see sprawling cities that glimmered like jewels under the alien sun. Towering structures with crystal-like surfaces reached high into the sky, while rivers of light weaved between them like flowing streams of energy. Hovercrafts moved silently, leaving trails of light that faded into the glowing streets below. It was beautiful, breathtaking, and overwhelming. "Look at that," Mara whispered, pressing her forehead against the glass. It's more incredible than I imagined." Ethan smiled softly, following her gaze. "It is beautiful, but don't let it distract you. The alien queen is expecting us. Zarathians are polite, but they take punctuality very seriously." Mara nodded, smoothing her dress nervously. She had spent weeks preparing for this visit, learning Zarathian customs, practicing their language, and memorizing the protocols for the royal audience. Yet nothing could quiet the fluttering in her chest. Despite Ethan's calm presence, she felt a twinge of anxiety. She was a human among aliens, and humans were still rare in this part of the galaxy. The ship docked at the main landing platform, and automated doors opened with a soft hiss. They were greeted by a Zarathian aide, tall and elegant, with luminous blue skin and elongated features. "Welcome, Mara of Earth and Ethan of Earth," the aide said in a smooth, melodic voice. "Her Majesty, Queen Zyra, awaits your arrival. Follow me, please." Ethan nodded politely, and Mara followed, her steps measured and careful. They moved through the corridors of the spaceport, marveling at the technology around them. Transparent walls revealed intricate machinery and floating holographic displays. Alien citizens of all shapes and sizes moved gracefully through the halls, their movements precise and elegant. Mara couldn't help but notice the attention they received as humans, curious glances, whispers, and subtle expressions of interest. Finally, they arrived at the royal palace. Its structure was unlike anything Mara had ever seen. Towers of shimmering crystal stretched high into the sky, reflecting sunlight in prismatic patterns. Gardens of floating plants hovered around the palace, their colors shifting with the light. The air seemed charged with energy, and Mara felt a strange thrill in her chest. The Zarathian aide led them through the grand halls, until they reached a chamber larger than any building Mara had ever seen on Earth. The floor gleamed like liquid silver, and the walls were adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to move when observed from different angles. At the far end of the room, seated on a throne made of what appeared to be living crystal, was Queen Zyra. She was taller than any human Mara had ever seen, her skin a deep violet hue, and her eyes a brilliant shade of gold that seemed to pierce through the very air. Her presence was commanding, yet there was a sense of curiosity in her gaze. When she looked at Mara and Ethan, she did so as though she were studying a fascinating new specimen. "Welcome, humans," Queen Zyra's voice resonated through the chamber, smooth yet powerful. "I have heard much about your kind, though few of you have ever visited Zaratha's prime. You are unusual. Mara felt a shiver of nervousness. Your Majesty, it is an honor to be here, she said politely, bowing slightly. Beside her, Ethan bowed as well, but his stance was relaxed, confident. There was a calmness about him that seemed almost magnetic. Queen Zyra's eyes lingered on Ethan for a moment longer than on Mara. You, she said, her tone sharp yet curious. The one they call Ethan. Tell me, are humans truly as weak as some of my advisors claim? Ethan met her gaze steadily. Strength can be measured in many ways, Your Majesty, he said quietly. Sometimes it is in the mind, sometimes it is in the heart, and sometimes it is in action. A flicker of surprise crossed the Queen's face. It was clear she was expecting a timid, uncertain human, not one who spoke with quiet confidence. She leaned slightly forward on her throne, intrigued. You will have the chance to demonstrate this strength soon, she said, her tone hinting at both challenge and amusement. I will test you, Ethan of Earth. Let us see if your words match your actions. Ethan inclined his head respectfully. I welcome the challenge, Your Majesty. Mara felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. She knew Ethan had always been capable, but the way he carried himself in front of the Queen was remarkable. There was no fear, no hesitation, only calm determination. She squeezed his hand briefly, and he gave her a small, reassuring smile. The Queen rose from her throne, her movement graceful and fluid. Humans are clever, yes, she said, speaking to the court rather than directly to them. But cleverness alone does not make one strong. Strength must be proven. Ethan, you will undergo tests of intellect, strategy, and skill. Only then will we see what humans are truly capable of. Ethan nodded again. I understand. Mara marveled at the Queen's presence. Even the courtiers surrounding her seemed to move with a mix of reverence and awe. And yet, despite the grandeur of the palace and the intimidating presence of the Queen, Ethan did not appear small or afraid. He stood firmly, grounded, ready for whatever was to come. As the court assembled around them, Mara noticed the subtle looks of curiosity and skepticism from the alien officials. Humans had always been underestimated in interstellar politics, considered fragile and unpredictable. Yet here was her husband, standing confidently before a queen whose very reputation was built on centuries of intelligence and power. The first test was announced, a puzzle designed to challenge the mind. A holographic display appeared, showing a complex pattern of energy flows and shifting shapes. Most Zarathians would have taken hours to solve it. Ethan, however, examined it calmly, observing the flow and logic behind the design. Within moments, he rearranged the elements in his mind and spoke clearly. The solution is to realign the central nodes so that the energy loops form a continuous circuit without interruption. The court fell silent. The Queen's golden eyes widened slightly. Impressive, she said. Many Zarathians would struggle to find this solution in a day. Mara felt a swell of pride. She knew Ethan was intelligent, but the ease with which he navigated alien logic and thought patterns was extraordinary. Yet she also knew this was only the beginning. The Queen's challenges were designed not only to test intellect, but endurance, agility, and strategy. As they moved to the next stage of testing, Mara noticed the subtle fascination in the Queen's gaze. Ethan had already begun to defy her expectations, not with arrogance but with quiet competence. For the first time, she seemed genuinely curious about the potential of humanity. Ethan glanced at Mara and whispered, "Stay close. I don't intend to disappoint." She smiled nervously, gripping his arm. "You never do," she replied softly. And so, on the first day of their visit to Zaratha's prime, a quiet human named Ethan began to leave his mark on an alien empire, not through loud words or grand gestures, but through calm intelligence, quiet confidence, and the subtle promise of strength yet to be revealed. Next morning, The first rays of Zarathis Prime's twin suns filtered through the crystal towers of the palace, casting long prisms of light across the grand hall where the court had gathered. The air hummed with quiet energy as Ethan and Mara prepared for the next stage of the tests. Today, the Queen intended to measure more than intelligence. She would test human adaptability, strategy, and physical skill. Queen Zyra descended from her throne with her usual elegance, her golden eyes scanning the room. "Humans," she said, her voice both commanding and curious, "you have shown cleverness, but cleverness alone is not enough. Today, you will demonstrate your capacity for action. Your task is not only to solve problems, but to anticipate and respond to unpredictable situations." Mara felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Though she trusted Ethan completely, she knew this challenge would push him beyond mere intellect. The Queen's eyes lingered on him, her gaze piercing, as though she were examining the very core of his being. Ethan nodded respectfully. "I am ready, Your Majesty." The first exercise involved a strategic simulation. Holographic landscapes appeared in the air, depicting complex battlefields and resource networks. Ethan and a team of alien strategists were asked to navigate the simulation and achieve an objective: protect a vital energy core while advancing toward a distant zone, all while facing unexpected hazards. The alien strategists were confident, their experience with these simulations extensive. They quickly proposed aggressive maneuvers, relying on traditional Zarathian tactics that emphasized precision and overwhelming force. Ethan, however, paused. He examined the terrain, the timing of the hazards, and the strengths and weaknesses of each unit. Instead of following conventional strategies, he suggested a plan that seemed simple yet unusual. "We will use the terrain to our advantage," he explained, pointing to elevated platforms and narrow corridors. "Instead of confronting the threats directly, we will guide them into positions where their own momentum slows them down. Then we advance in a coordinated, controlled pattern." The Zarathians exchanged skeptical glances. Their protocols rarely tolerated such unconventional approaches, especially from a human. Yet the Queen watched intently, her interest clearly piqued. As the simulation began, Ethan's plan unfolded flawlessly. The alien units moved with precision, guided by his instructions. Hazards were avoided not by brute force, but by careful observation and timing. The energy core remained secure, and the team reached the target zone faster than any previous attempt recorded in the simulation's history. Queen Zyra's golden eyes widened slightly. "Remarkable," she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. "You do not think as we do, yet your methods are effective." Mara felt a surge of pride. She had known Ethan possessed unique abilities, but seeing him apply them in front of the entire court was awe-inspiring. The alien courtiers, once skeptical, now looked at him with a mixture of astonishment and respect. The second exercise tested physical agility and coordination. A series of platforms suspended over a holographic void materialized before Ethan. The task was simple in description but difficult in execution. Traverse the platforms while responding to shifting patterns and timed obstacles, all while carrying a lightweight energy pack that simulated a valuable cargo. Most Zarathians approached the course with cautious precision. They calculated each step, waiting for the perfect moment to move. Ethan, however, studied the sequence for only a few seconds. Then, with a calm breath, he began moving. His steps were fluid and confident, each landing calculated yet effortless. He anticipated shifts in the platforms, adjusted to sudden movements, and maintained perfect balance. At one point, a panel tilted sharply beneath him. Without hesitation, Ethan leaped to the next platform, landing softly, energy pack secure. The audience gasped quietly. The Queen's expression shifted from curiosity to genuine intrigue. By the time he reached the end, He had not only completed the course faster than any Zerathian but had done so with a natural elegance that made it seem almost effortless. "You possess remarkable balance," Queen Zyra said, her voice calm yet filled with wonder. "Few of my people could move with such confidence under these conditions." Ethan inclined his head, acknowledging the compliment. "Balance is not only physical, Your Majesty," he said quietly. "It is also patience, observation, and adaptation. All of these work together." The Queen seemed to study him carefully, as if trying to discern how a being so ordinary in appearance could possess such extraordinary abilities. Her alien mind, trained for millennia to evaluate and measure strength, seemed unable to classify him easily. This was not just skill, it was a combination of intellect, reflex, and insight, all working in harmony. The final test of the day was perhaps the most unusual. Queen Zyra wanted to see how a human responded to uncertainty and pressure. A holographic maze appeared, filled with traps, false pathways, and unpredictable shifts. The challenge was simple in instruction: navigate from the entrance to the exit without triggering any alarms. The alien contestants approached methodically, testing each path carefully, hesitant to make mistakes. Ethan, however, stepped forward without hesitation. He observed the maze, noticing subtle cues in the holographic shifts and patterns that others overlooked. His movements were confident yet measured. When a section shifted unexpectedly, he adapted instantly, redirecting his path without hesitation. At one point, a large panel descended, blocking the route he had planned. Without panic, he assessed alternative routes, calculating which would provide the safest and fastest path. Within moments, he continued forward, always thinking 2 steps ahead. The audience watched in awe as he reached the exit faster than anyone else had managed, and without setting off a single alarm. Queen Zyra's gaze lingered on him, and for the first time, she spoke with genuine admiration. "Ethan of Earth," she said, her voice both soft and commanding, "you do not simply react to challenges. You anticipate, you adapt, and you overcome. You are extraordinary." Mara's chest swelled with pride. She had always known her husband was capable, but witnessing the Queen herself express astonishment and admiration was breathtaking. The courtiers, too, seemed to shift in their perception of humans. No longer were they the fragile, underestimated species they had assumed. Here was proof that humans could excel, even under conditions alien and unfamiliar. After the tests concluded, Ethan and Mara were escorted to a quiet chamber within the palace. Mara glanced at her husband, her eyes shining. "You were amazing," she said softly. "Even the Queen seems impressed." Ethan smiled humbly. "It was nothing extraordinary," he replied. "I just tried to do what felt natural." Mara laughed lightly. "Natural, that was anything but ordinary. They'll be talking about this for years." Ethan shook his head gently. "It's not about showing off. It's about proving that humans can contribute even here, that we can adapt, think, and act. That's all that matters." For a moment they sat together in silence, the grandeur of the palace surrounding them. The weight of what had just happened began to settle. Today, Ethan had begun to change perceptions, not with words but through action. Humans, long underestimated in the galaxy, were starting to show their true strength. The Queen's aide arrived, bowing slightly. "Your Majesty is pleased," she said. "She requests your presence for the evening discussion on interstellar cooperation." Ethan nodded. "Of course." Mara stood, taking his arm. "Shall we?" As they walked through the halls, Mara couldn't help but notice the subtle changes in the courtiers' expressions. Where there had once been skepticism, now there was curiosity and even respect. Where there had been doubt, now there was admiration. Humans were no longer seen as fragile outsiders. They were capable, adaptable, and perhaps even exceptional. That evening, as they were led into the grand council chamber, Queen Zyra regarded Ethan with a mixture of awe and intrigue. Her golden eyes seemed to study him not just as a human, but as a being capable of exceeding expectations. "You have shown remarkable skill today," she said, "not only in thought but in action. Tell me, Ethan of Earth, what motivates a species so small, so seemingly ordinary to achieve so much?" Ethan considered her question carefully. "We are driven by curiosity, by the desire to learn and improve. We are driven by care for our families, our friends, and for what is right. And sometimes we are driven by the need to rise to challenges, no matter how impossible they seem." The Queen's expression softened, her eyes reflecting a new understanding. "Perhaps I underestimated humans," she murmured. "Perhaps your strength is not in your size or your power, but in your heart and mind." Mara squeezed Ethan's hand, smiling. Today had been more than a test. It had been the first step toward proving that humans had a place among the stars. And for the first time, the Queen's intrigue hinted at respect, rather than mere curiosity. As they prepared to leave the council chamber, Ethan whispered to Mara, "Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but I think we are ready." Mara nodded, her heart full of pride and hope. Humanity had begun to reveal its true strength. And even the Queen could not ignore it. The next morning, the twin suns of Zarath's prime rose over the crystalline towers of the capital city, bathing the palace in a warm, golden light. Mara woke early, her mind still racing with thoughts of yesterday's challenges. She glanced at Ethan, who was already at the observation deck, quietly watching the city below. "Morning," she said softly, leaning against the doorframe. Ethan turned, his dark eyes calm and focused. "Morning," he replied. "I thought I'd take a moment to observe the city." "There is much to learn from watching a civilization in action," Mara smiled. She had always admired the way Ethan approached new situations. He didn't rush or act without thought. Instead, he watched, analyzed, and adapted. It was this quiet strength that had impressed Queen Zyra in the court yesterday. Before Mara could respond, the calm of the morning was shattered. A sharp alarm echoed through the palace, vibrating through the crystal floors and walls. The lights in the observation deck flickered as a holographic alert appeared in front of them. Unidentified starship approaching at high velocity, potential collision course. Ethan's calm demeanor did not falter. He stepped closer to the display, analyzing the data as it streamed in. The starship was rogue, moving unpredictably, and its trajectory was set to collide with Zarath's prime's orbital defense grid. If it struck, the damage could be catastrophic. Mara felt a surge of panic. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We assess first, act second. Panicking will not help anyone." Queen Zyra's aide rushed in, bowing deeply. "Your Majesty, the starship, our defenses are failing to contain it. If it impacts, the entire orbital grid could be destroyed." The Queen herself appeared moments later, her golden eyes wide with concern. "Ethan," she said, her voice urgent, "we have relied on our technology for centuries, yet it struggles against this threat. Can you help us?" Ethan studied the readings carefully. The rogue ship moved erratically, bypassing standard defense protocols. Most Zarathians would have relied solely on automated systems to intercept it. Ethan, however, saw an opportunity for strategy. "Your Majesty," he said, "the ship's trajectory is predictable if we consider not just its speed, but its reaction patterns. I can coordinate a manual intervention that the automated systems cannot handle." The Queen hesitated for a moment. Her people trusted technology above all else, yet there was something in Ethan's calm, confident tone that commanded attention. Finally, she nodded. "Do what you must. I place the safety of my planet in your hands." Mara watched as Ethan moved to the control console. His fingers danced over the holographic interface, rerouting energy flows and overriding automated systems. He instructed alien technicians with clear, precise commands, blending human ingenuity with Zarathian technology. "Divert the left energy shield to compensate for the ship's lateral movement," he ordered. Activate the stabilizers in sequence, no simultaneous triggers. I'll guide the intercept manually. The room hummed with tension. Every second counted. The rogue starship was closing in rapidly. The alien engineers followed Ethan's directions carefully, marveling at the ease with which he integrated human intuition with their advanced systems. Mara's heart pounded. She could see the strain on the technicians, the worry in the Queen's eyes. Yet Ethan remained calm, analyzing, predicting, adjusting. With each command, the rogue ship's trajectory shifted slightly, moving closer to a safe interception point. Then, a sudden complication arose. The ship changed velocity abruptly, bypassing the newly adjusted shields. An alarm blared and several of the defense systems flickered. Ethan did not panic. He stepped forward, placing both hands on the control panel, his mind working at an astonishing pace. Reset the auxiliary thrusters. I'll guide them manually. Mara, stay close to the console. Help me monitor the energy levels. Mara nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and trust. Together, they coordinated the final adjustments. The rogue ship was now within a few kilometers of the orbital grid. Ethan calculated the exact timing and angles required to stabilize its course, giving the alien engineers clear instructions. At the last possible moment, the starship's velocity was corrected. It passed safely through the outer defense zone, avoiding collision entirely. The energy shield stabilized, and the alarm ceased. A collective sigh of relief echoed through the chamber. Queen Zyra stepped forward, her golden eyes wide with astonishment. "Incredible," she whispered. "No Zarathian has ever handled such a threat with such precision and insight." Ethan straightened, wiping his hands on his sleeve. "It was a combination of observation, timing, and adaptation, Your Majesty." The ship reacted in predictable patterns once you understand its logic. The key is to remain calm and adjust as conditions change. The Queen approached him, her expression a mixture of awe and curiosity. "You are not only intelligent, Ethan of Earth, but remarkably composed under pressure. Humans are often underestimated in the galaxy, yet you have proven your species capable of feats even we did not anticipate." Mara felt a surge of pride. She had always known Ethan's abilities, but witnessing them in action, saving an entire planetary defense system, was breathtaking. The courtiers, too, were stunned. Whispers of admiration spread throughout the chamber. Humans, long considered fragile, were beginning to earn respect. The crisis averted, the Queen asked Ethan to explain his actions. Calmly, he outlined his analysis and strategy, demonstrating not only technical skill but creative problem-solving. The alien engineers listened intently, realizing that human thinking could complement even their most advanced technology. "You have changed my perception of humans," Queen Zyra admitted. "Your species possesses qualities we have not yet fully understood: resilience, ingenuity, and courage." Ethan bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans are capable of much when faced with challenges. We adapt, learn, and act, not always the strongest physically, but often the most resourceful." The Queen nodded, her golden eyes thoughtful. "Perhaps I have been too quick to judge. Humanity has potential even among the stars." Mara watched Ethan carefully, noting the quiet strength in his demeanor. He had not sought recognition or praise. He had acted because it was necessary. Yet his actions spoke louder than any words could, leaving an impression not only on the Queen but on the entire court. After the immediate danger passed, the Queen invited Ethan and Mara to a private chamber. "Your actions today have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary things," she said softly. "Not through brute strength alone, but through intellect, adaptability, and courage. I would like to learn more about your species through you." Mara squeezed Ethan's hand. "You've done more than impress her," she whispered. "You've shown the galaxy what humans are truly capable of." Ethan smiled, his calm demeanor unshaken. "We have only begun. There is much more to demonstrate, and much more to learn from them as well. As they prepared for the evening, Mara reflected on the events of the day. Humanity, once underestimated in the galaxy, was now being recognized for qualities that went beyond physical strength. Ethan's actions had not only saved Zaratha's Prime from disaster, but had also begun to shift centuries-old perceptions of what humans could achieve. The Queen herself seemed genuinely intrigued. Her initial skepticism had given way to admiration, her mind opening to the possibilities that humanity could offer. Mara realized that today marked a turning point, not just for her husband, but for her entire species. That night, as they looked out over the glowing city from the palace balcony, Mara whispered, "Ethan, the Queen sees you as more than just human now. She respects you. She respects us." Ethan took her hand gently. "It's not about respect alone," he said. "It's about showing that humans can contribute, that we can rise to challenges and adapt where others might fail. That is the strength she has witnessed." Mara leaned against him, feeling a mixture of pride and awe. Humanity had proven itself, not with loud declarations, but with quiet, steadfast action. And in doing so, they had begun to earn the recognition they had long been denied. For the first time, Mara truly understood the depth of her husband's strength. It was not just physical or intellectual. It was a combination of insight, courage, and calm determination that allowed him to face the impossible and succeed. And for the first time, the Queen of an alien empire saw humans in a new light, not fragile, not weak, but capable, resilient, and extraordinary in ways even she could not have predicted. The halls of the Zarathian palace were quieter than usual that morning. Mara walked beside Ethan, feeling the lingering excitement and tension from the previous day. The rogue starship incident had left the court and the Queen in astonishment, and whispers of Ethan's capabilities spread throughout the palace. For Mara, it was hard not to feel proud, yet she also sensed the subtle shift in the Queen's perception of her husband and of humanity. Ethan, as usual, walked calmly, observing the palace with quiet curiosity. He didn't flaunt his abilities, but there was an unspoken confidence in the way he moved. Mara stole a glance at him. Even now, after saving an entire orbital defense grid, he remained humble. Queen Zyra appeared at the end of the hall, her golden eyes bright with curiosity. She did not summon them formally, but Ethan and Mara instinctively stopped in respect. The Queen's presence was commanding, yet today there was a trace of warmth in her gaze, a mixture of curiosity and admiration. "Ethan," she said, her voice calm yet resonant, "yesterday you have shown that humans possess qualities I had not expected. Today, I wish to explore these qualities further, not through tests or simulations, but through understanding. I want to see your thought, your strategy, and the way you approach challenges that are unfamiliar." Mara felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Unlike the previous tests, this was not a controlled challenge. It was an opportunity for Ethan to demonstrate the depth of his abilities in real situations, and for the Queen to see his insight firsthand. The Queen led them to a large chamber filled with holographic projections of distant star systems, alien settlements, and uncharted territories. "These are strategic regions of interest to the Zarathian Empire," she explained. "We face challenges across these territories, political, environmental, and technological. I wish to know how a human mind would analyze these problems, and perhaps offer solutions we have not yet considered." Ethan studied the holograms carefully. Unlike the simulations of yesterday, these were complex, multi-layered problems with no single solution. Environmental hazards, political instability, and limited resources made every scenario a puzzle of its own. Mara watched him in awe as he moved through the holographic maps, his eyes scanning every detail. He asked questions, gathered information from the attending advisors, and began to outline strategies that were both simple and brilliant. "For the northern sector," he said, pointing at a holographic star cluster. It is important to prioritize resource distribution based on adaptability rather than strength. Focus on communities that can adjust to changes quickly. They will survive longer and require less intervention. A Zarathian advisor frowned. But that risks neglecting the larger, more established colonies. Ethan shook his head gently. Neglect is not the right word. Observation is key. Strength alone is not always effective. A balanced approach, monitoring, supporting, and adapting, ensures stability and growth in the long term. Queen Zyra's eyes shone with interest. She had rarely encountered someone who could approach strategic problems with both creativity and practicality. Humans were often underestimated, seen as fragile or impulsive. Ethan's solutions, however, combined foresight, adaptability, and empathy, a combination rare even among the most advanced Zarathians. Next, the Queen turned to environmental hazards. A holographic storm system threatened several outer colonies. Ethan observed the storm patterns carefully, noting the speed, intensity, and trajectory. Unlike the Zarathian protocols, which relied on automated defenses, he suggested a hybrid approach, predictive adjustments combined with human-style adaptability. Redirect energy barriers only when necessary, he explained. Do not overcompensate but remain flexible. If the storm shifts unexpectedly, allow mobile units to respond in real time rather than relying solely on static systems. The advisors murmured among themselves, impressed by the practicality of his suggestions. The Queen, however, remained silent, studying him closely. She could see a pattern in his thinking, calm, deliberate, and adaptable. He did not seek glory, he sought solutions. And in doing so, he revealed a strength beyond mere physical skill or intellect. He revealed insight and resilience. Then came a diplomatic challenge. The Queen presented a holographic simulation of a tense negotiation with a distant alien species. Zarathian diplomats often approached these situations with formal protocols and rigid expectations. Ethan, however, studied the behaviors and cultural nuances carefully. You cannot rely solely on authority or protocol, he explained to the Queen. You must understand motivations, values, and fears. A solution is only lasting if it respects these factors and builds trust. He proposed a negotiation strategy that emphasized mutual benefit, empathy, and clear communication. It was unconventional by Zarathian standards, yet the simulation proved its effectiveness. The alien species agreed to the proposals without conflict, and both sides gained new opportunities. Queen Zyra leaned forward, her expression one of astonishment. Your approach, it is unlike anything we have attempted. Humans think differently, yet your method is effective, remarkably so. Mara felt a surge of pride. Her husband's quiet strength, his ability to see beyond rigid structures and immediate challenges, was not only impressive but transformative. For the first time, she saw the Queen's respect grow into something deeper, a recognition that humans were more than mere observers or assistants in the galaxy. They were contributors, problem solvers, and innovators. The day continued with more exercises, each designed to test different aspects of human thinking. Environmental adaptation, strategic planning, and creative problem-solving, all were areas where Ethan excelled naturally. His calm demeanor under pressure, combined with sharp insight and practical solutions, left the court and advisors in awe. By evening, Queen Zyra invited Ethan and Mara to a private chamber overlooking the capital city. The lights of Zaratha's prime shimmered like stars fallen to the ground, and the twin suns had dipped below the horizon, leaving a soft twilight glow. You have impressed me, Ethan of Earth, the Queen said, her golden eyes reflecting both wonder and contemplation. Your actions, your thinking, your strength is not like ours, yet it is extraordinary. Humans possess qualities we have long underestimated: resilience, ingenuity, and the ability to adapt in ways even we cannot predict. Ethan inclined his head respectfully. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans often face challenges that require thinking beyond what is conventional. It is in these moments that we discover our strengths. The Queen regarded him thoughtfully. It is rare to witness such calm and competence under pressure. Even our most experienced leaders would struggle to manage as you have. You have shown not only skill but character. Mara squeezed Ethan's hand, silently celebrating the recognition. She had always known his capabilities, but seeing them appreciated by the ruler of an advanced alien empire was extraordinary. You have begun to change my perception of humanity, the Queen continued. Your species is capable of adaptation and resilience beyond what I imagined. Perhaps it is time for the Zorathian Empire to reconsider its view of humans, not as fragile outsiders but as allies and innovators. Ethan smiled humbly. I am honored, Your Majesty. Our goal is not to compete but to collaborate. Together, humans and Zorathians can accomplish more than either alone. The Queen nodded, her expression softening. Indeed, today you have proven that strength is not only physical power or advanced technology. True strength lies in insight, adaptability, and courage. You possess these qualities in abundance. As the night settled over the palace, Mara felt a deep sense of pride and hope. Humanity had begun to earn respect not through force, but through intelligence, calm judgment, and resilience. Ethan's quiet strength had shown the Queen and the Empire that humans were capable of far more than anyone had imagined. Later, in the privacy of their quarters, Mara looked at Ethan. You've done more than impress the Queen. You've changed how she sees us, how she sees humanity. Ethan smiled softly. It is not about changing her mind alone. It is about showing what we are capable of, not just through words but through action. Humanity has potential, and I hope today we have begun to demonstrate that. Mara rested her head on his shoulder, feeling a mix of pride and awe. She realized that Ethan's strength was not only in what he could do, but in the way he approached every situation, with calm, thoughtfulness, and determination. And for the first time, she truly understood the depth of the Queen's awe. Queen Zyra had seen humans in action, not through stories or reports, but through someone who embodied the best of their species. A quiet human had revealed extraordinary strength, a strength that could reshape perceptions, build alliances, and perhaps even change the course of interstellar history. As the twin moons rose over the glowing city, Mara and Ethan stood together on the balcony, looking out at a world that now saw humanity differently. For the first time, the Queen's respect was clear, her awe unmistakable. Humans had shown their true strength, not through brute force or loud displays, but through insight, courage, and unwavering calm. And in the quiet moments of the night, Mara knew that this was only the beginning. The morning on Zaratha's prime was filled with an unusual calm. The palace, which often buzzed with activity, seemed to pause in anticipation. Word of Ethan's extraordinary actions had spread throughout the empire. Courtiers, advisors, and even citizens awaited the council meeting where the Queen would formally recognize his contributions. Mara walked beside Ethan as they approached the grand council chamber. The halls sparkled under the sunlight, casting reflections across the crystal floors. Even with the beauty around her, Mara's thoughts were focused on her husband. For years, humans had been underestimated across the galaxy, seen as fragile or limited. Yet here he was, a human whose calm intelligence, courage, and adaptability had earned the respect of one of the most powerful alien rulers in history. "Are you ready?" Mara asked softly. Ethan glanced at her, his dark eyes steady. "Always, today is not about me alone, it is about showing humanity's true potential." When they entered the council chamber, a hush fell over the assembly. Alien dignitaries from across the empire were present, their expressions a mix of curiosity, respect, and awe. At the far end of the chamber, Queen Zyra rose from her throne, her golden eyes fixed on Ethan. The light from the crystalline walls reflected softly around her, giving her an almost ethereal glow. "Humans of Earth," she began, her voice clear and commanding, "for centuries your species has been observed, studied, and often underestimated. Today, one human has shown us a different reality. Ethan has demonstrated courage, intelligence, and adaptability that surpass expectations, even in situations we considered impossible." The court murmured quietly. Some of the Zarathians had witnessed Ethan's actions firsthand. Others had heard reports of the rogue starship incident and his problem-solving strategies. Whispers of admiration spread quickly. Ethan bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans are capable of great things, not because of superiority, but because of determination, adaptability, and the desire to contribute. We seek not dominance, but collaboration. Together, we can face challenges beyond the capacity of any single species." Queen Zyra's expression softened. "Indeed, your actions have inspired a reconsideration of the place of humanity within our empire. I declare that humans shall now be recognized not as fragile outsiders, but as valuable allies and innovators in Zarathian society." The council erupted in applause, a sound that echoed through the crystal chamber. Mara could see the astonishment and pride on the faces of many alien dignitaries. It was unprecedented. Humans had rarely received such recognition, and certainly never in such a formal and powerful setting. The Queen continued, addressing the broader implications. "Ethan of Earth has shown us that strength is not only physical power or technological mastery. True strength lies in insight, patience, courage, and adaptability. These are qualities that humans possess abundantly. From this day forward, the Zarathian Empire shall welcome collaboration with human scientists, strategists, and explorers across all sectors of our civilization." Mara's chest swelled with pride. This was more than a personal victory. It was a victory for all of humanity, a moment when centuries of underestimation were challenged and changed. After the council session, Queen Zyra invited Ethan and Mara to walk with her through the palace gardens. The gardens were unlike anything Mara had seen. Floating plants drifted gently above glowing paths, and streams of light flowed alongside crystalline flowers. The air hummed softly with energy, creating an atmosphere of calm and reflection. "Ethan," the Queen began, her voice quieter now, "you have done more than demonstrate human ability. You have shown the heart of your species. Your courage, thoughtfulness, and determination have reshaped my perception of humanity. It is rare to witness such qualities embodied in one individual, yet you carry them effortlessly." Ethan nodded humbly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It is not only my actions but the values humanity carries that matter. We strive to understand, to adapt, and to contribute. That is how we grow stronger, and how we help others grow stronger as well." The Queen's eyes reflected a new depth of understanding. "I see now that humans are not just capable, they are extraordinary in ways our calculations never predicted. You have proven that one individual can represent the potential of an entire species." Mara felt a tear of pride welling in her eye. Ethan had always been extraordinary to her, but seeing the Queen recognize it made her heart swell with joy. She squeezed his hand gently. "You've done it," she whispered. Ethan smiled softly. "We've done it. Humanity as a whole has the chance to contribute, to show what we are capable of." The next days were filled with a series of collaborative projects. Ethan worked alongside Zarathian scientists, engineers, and strategists, helping to design more adaptive systems for planetary defense, resource management, and exploration. His human perspective, combined with his calm problem-solving skills, provided fresh insights the aliens had never considered. Mara accompanied him, learning and observing, proud of the way her husband interacted with the Zarathians. He was neither arrogant nor boastful. Instead, he approached each task with humility and curiosity, earning the respect of every team he joined. In one demonstration, Ethan coordinated a complex simulation involving multiple planetary colonies, each facing unique environmental and political challenges. While the Zarathian teams relied on rigid protocols and automated systems, Ethan's human approach emphasized adaptability, observation, and collaboration. By the end of the simulation, not only had the objectives been achieved more efficiently than ever before, but the participating Zarathians had learned to value human insight and unconventional strategies. Queen Zyra observed the process closely. She noted the calm authority with which Ethan guided his teams, the clarity of his instructions, and the ease with which he solved problems that had challenged even the most experienced Zarathians. Each success added to her growing admiration and respect. "You truly are remarkable, Ethan," the Queen said one evening, as they observed a holographic map of the Empire from the palace balcony. "Your actions have reshaped how we view humans. You have shown that courage, insight, and adaptability can surpass what we once thought impossible." Ethan looked out over the glowing city, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. "I only did what felt natural, Your Majesty." Humans face challenges every day in countless ways. We adapt, we learn, and we act. Today's success is not mine alone. It is the result of collaboration, observation, and willingness to respond to challenges. The Queen regarded him thoughtfully. "Perhaps that is the lesson I have learned, not from your actions alone, but from your example. Humanity is not fragile or limited. It is capable, resilient, and inspiring. And it is time we embrace that potential fully." In the weeks that followed, humans began to take a more visible role in the Zarathian Empire. Scientific exchanges, collaborative projects, and cultural programs flourished. Reports of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability spread quickly, reshaping long-held perceptions. Mara watched with pride as her husband, quietly and without fanfare, helped humans earn recognition not through dominance or power, but through thoughtfulness, skill, and heart. It was a victory not just for him, but for her species. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Zaratha's prime, Mara and Ethan stood on the palace balcony, observing the glowing city below. The quiet hum of the palace and the soft light of the moons created a sense of calm and accomplishment. "You've changed so much," Mara said softly. "Not just for the Queen, not just for the Empire, but for all of humanity." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder, his dark eyes reflecting pride and humility. "We've only begun. There is much more to learn, much more to contribute. Humanity has always faced challenges, yet we continue to grow stronger. This is just the start of showing the galaxy what we are capable of." The Queen appeared quietly behind them, her golden eyes thoughtful yet filled with admiration. "Ethan," she said softly, "you have done more than prove your strength. You have shown the potential of a species. From this day forward, humans will no longer be underestimated. They are allies, innovators, and problem solvers. You have earned their respect and my own." Mara felt tears of pride and joy welling in her eyes. Her husband, the quiet human she had always admired, had done something extraordinary, not through force or display, but through intellect, calm determination, and courage. Ethan bowed slightly to the Queen. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It is not just about recognition. It is about showing what humans can achieve and about inspiring collaboration and growth across the stars." The Queen nodded, a rare smile touching her lips. "Indeed, the galaxy will remember this, Ethan of Earth. Humanity's place among the stars has been proven today, and it is stronger than ever." As the three of them stood together on the balcony, looking out at a city that now saw humans differently, Mara felt a sense of hope and pride she had never experienced before. Humanity had faced skepticism, doubt, and underestimation, but through courage, insight, and resilience, they had risen above. And for the first time, Mara truly understood the depth of her husband's strength. It was not just physical or intellectual. It was a combination of insight, adaptability, courage, and heart, a strength that had left an alien queen and an entire empire in awe. The stars above shimmered brightly, reflecting the promise of a future where humans would no longer be underestimated, where their contributions, intelligence, and courage could shape civilizations, where one quiet human had changed the course of interstellar history, not with force, but with extraordinary heart and mind. And in that moment, Mara knew that humanity had not only earned respect, it had earned its rightful place among the stars.